Hello, buddy. Welcome back to the Tin Man Score channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'll be reacting to my third and final scary story channel for y'all. And this one's spooky vibes. And the video that I'll be reacting to today is 3 True Lost in the Woods horror stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and in the bag, shall we? Okay, here we go.
This story didn't happen to me, but it happened to my niece. My younger brother has a daughter named Ashley. Ashley is their only daughter, and she is such a sweetheart. Well, my brother and his family, they live up in the New England area. Not too long ago, my niece Ashley had gone missing. The last time she was seen was playing in my brother's backyard, which is connected to a massive forest.
That would be a terrible thing to hear from a family member, is that your niece, nephew, or any younger sibling would go missing. And the last time they saw them, they were playing right near the forest. So automatically that tells you they wandered into the forest and they got lost. Somebody walked in and grabbed them, or, and I hope this ain't the case, an animal chased them in the woods and attacked them. But let's just see what happens next.
My brother saw her start to go into the woods and yelled for her not to go in there and to come back. But Ashley, who was 9 by the way, decided not to listen and run into the woods. My brother got angry and went out into the woods to bring her back. But here's the problem. He couldn't find her. And it got so bad that they had to get the police involved. I remember it was the most terrifying moment in my life when my brother called me and told me that Ashley was missing. Well, get this. 8 days go by, and it seriously isn't looking good. Like, I hate to admit it, but I was getting thoughts of the worst case scenario, and it was a whole mess.
Oh yeah, I bet. 8 days go by, still no sign of that girl? You'll be thinking about the bad has happened to her.
My brother was out in the backyard with police officers, going over the plans of what to do next, when out of nowhere, Ashley walks out of the woods. My brother said he ran over so fast that he almost knocked her over. She was extremely dirty, her clothes were all torn up, and my brother said that the smell on her was atrocious. But nonetheless, we were just relieved that she had been found. That's when the police and my brother started asking her what happened. How did she get lost, and how did she make it back? Here's where it gets absolutely creepy. Ashley said she met someone out in the woods. She said his name was Jeffrey. Jeffrey had found her lost in the woods and had offered to help take care of her. Ashley said Jeffrey was this old man who preferred to live in the woods. He said the people out there can't accept him. My brother thought maybe Ashley had hit her head while she was lost or something. But Ashley swears that Jeffrey is real and is living in the woods, and he said he'll come and visit her again soon. Again, even though it was horrible what happened to Ashley, we were just glad that she was found and was safe.
No, if a little girl said that they saw a man in the woods and he offered to help her, you better listen, because I guarantee you he's a hermit living out there in the woods. While she was running back home, she probably tripped and fell into some mud. That's why her clothes got dirty. But yeah, thank God that she got home, because I was just starting to think that this family was never going to see her again. My heart started to jump there for a second.
Despite having this odd Jeffrey story. Well, just last week, my brother called me and said he has something important to tell me. He said Ashley came into his room the other night at like midnight and said that Jeffrey was outside her window saying hi. My brother rushed into her bedroom and looked all around outside. We both still don't know if this Jeffrey guy is real or not, but my brother just installed a brand new security system all around his house. My brother said if he is real, then he will catch him, no matter the cost. But for now, we're just glad that Ashley is safe and sound.
Yeah, me too, because I would have a hard time sleeping just thinking that they just lost their kid in the woods. But if you don't catch nothing on that security camera, then you may be right. She might be just imagining stuff from being in the woods scared. Or you might find this supposed Jeffrey person and catch him walking up to your house. And if you do, hand that over to the police so they can go find him. You always make sure that your child or little sibling does not wander off where they're not supposed to go, or something like this might happen. But anyway, let's continue on to story number 2.
So I can't explain the story, and I would love if someone could help me out with it. Last year, me and my girlfriend Vera went on a hiking trip down in South America. We had found a reliable tour guide down there who told us the best paths to take and which forests to check out. He did warn us very cautiously to stay on the track because it is very easy to get lost out there. There's no surface or anything, and if you get lost, you're pretty much dead. That wasn't the exact kind of message that we wanted to hear in a different country than ours, but we did appreciate the honesty. So, Vera and I take off hiking at 9 in the morning. We had the map the guide had given us, and we were both extra careful to follow the paths and his words closely. Unfortunately, after hiking for about 3 hours out in the wilderness, we actually did end up getting lost.
Oh, geez. When you go to another country, make sure you have a trustworthy guide that will lead you on a perfect hike and then take you back to the town or village you're staying in. Because you get lost, you'll be the prey of animals that live in the woods, or some psycho might be lurking around waiting to attack you. And plus, you better hurry up and find a way back quick, because when darkness falls, it'll be really creepy.
I know this will sound stupid and irresponsible, but I had brought joints with us, and I got a bit too relaxed and not focused on where I was leading me and my girlfriend.
And that's another thing. Don't ever bring weed or any other drug on a hiking trip, because once you take that stuff, your brain will not be thinking about the situation, and you might accidentally injure yourself, like tripping over a rock, and you'll be so buzzed not to even feel it, or falling down a hill.
It got real serious when we both realized we didn't know which way was the right way back to town. Miraculously, just about the point where dread was kicking in, this man appeared out of nowhere. He introduced himself as Emilio, and we immediately started asking for him to please help us and that we're lost. Emilio seemed to be this middle-aged guy with a full head of hair and suntanned skin. He said he finds tourists lost out here all the time, and said he would be glad to help. He pointed at the landmarks to follow and the paths to take to get back to town. He said he knows this because he lives in the town, and he knows his way around the jungle. We thanked him so much and followed his instructions on how to get back. After about an hour, we finally saw the town ahead through the trees. We found our guide nearby and told him about how we got lost and how Emilio had saved us and got us back on track. The guide was a bit upset with us that we didn't listen to his instructions, but was glad that we were back and okay.
Yeah, so far, nothing did seem wrong with this Emilio guy. He actually led him back to the guide. But the guide is right. You should listen to his instructions and not wander off too far. So they should be thankful that somebody actually came in and told him where to get back to town.
I started asking him if he knew the man Emilio, because he said he lived in town. The guy said there was no Emilio who lives in this town. He's lived here all his life, and the population is barely 3,000. He knows everybody, and everybody knows him. I told him that can't be possible, and started going into detail about how he looked and sounded. The guy just shook his head no, and said to trust him. No Emilio lives there. We ended up leaving and heading back to our car to drive back to our Airbnb. But as we were walking back, we saw this small cemetery on the side of the road. I started looking at a couple of the graves and stopped. There was a gravestone with the name Emilio on it. I showed this to Vera, and we started freaking out. We truly believed that if Emilio wasn't real, and someone who lived in town, could we have seen a ghost?
Possibly. You know, I was just starting to think, okay, is this Emilio guy not even native to that area? He came from another town? But if they found a tombstone with his name on it, that proves that he's no longer living there. He's just wandering there as a spirit, which that is very spooky to find for sure.
I guess it's also possible that he could have been someone who was passing by and lived somewhere else. But remember that he told me and Vera that he lived in the town that we were going back to. Or could the guy just be mistaken and not know there was an Emilio who lived in the small town? Me and my girlfriend are inclined to believe that it could have been a spirit or a ghost of some sort. What do you think?
Yeah, I still think it's probably his spirit wandering around like he's got some unfinished business, but he wanted to help you guys get back to the town that you were staying in, and it turned out to be his town, which is very thoughtful of him to do so. But that would be creepy just to find out that he's dead, even though he looked flesh and blood to you. I hear all them ghost stories all the time where people said they talked with people that were solid like us, but then they found out in news articles that they were already passed. And that's always creepy and chilling to hear. But you should be thanking him for getting you out of that lost jungle area of that village in that country and get you back to where you're staying at quicker. But I know that's one spooky memory to take back home with you.
So, this story terrified me as a kid, and I'm still haunted by it today. Back when I was 10, me and my good friend Richie would always go exploring in my backyard woods. My parents' house was right at the edge of this massive forest that expanded for miles. As a kid, that was like a magical jungle to me. Richie and I loved to build stick castles, climb the trees, and to pretend to be characters for TV shows and fight. Well, this one day, Richie and I were pretty deep in the woods. My parents only let me go so far, but I always loved to push the limits and see how far I could go. We were getting to a point where I almost didn't remember how to get back, and was dreading not listening to my parents' warning about going too far in.
Yeah, because you go too far in, you'll get lost, and you might be having a hard time trying to remember which path you took, and you don't want to stumble across a animal's den and make them mad.
When we saw something, standing in a small clearing ahead of us was this old lady, and she was waving at us. And at first, I was freaked the hell out.
I would be too.
Then I recognized the lady to be Mrs. June, who lived in the neighborhood next to ours. She came walking up to us very excitedly. She said hello to me and Richie, and if you're wondering what I was thinking at that moment, it was what the heck is my 87-year-old neighbor doing out in the woods by herself?
I would like to know that as well, unless she's into collecting rare herbs for making medicine or food with. But if she's 87 years old, I'm surprised she's able to get around that good and not have nobody caring for her. Because if that was the case, she would not be in the woods right now.
But before I could even ponder that question, she was asking both of us if we would like to come back to her house with her. I know this will make me sound like a dick, but we were both honestly scared shitless. Like, how did she get out in the woods by herself anyway? And from the moment we saw her, she had this almost fake grin on her face, like she was trying too hard to look happy. Richie and I declined her offer and said we needed to get back to the house, even though we ourselves were a bit lost in the woods. She took a step closer and bent a bit to our level. We looked at her as she continued to have that odd grin on her face, and noticed that in her left eye, she appeared to be bleeding tears. But the odd thing was, Mrs. June didn't seem to care. She actually smiled even bigger when she wiped the blood away. At this point, I looked at Richie, and we just booked it. I remember thinking that we were still lost in the woods, and hopefully we run back in the direction of my house. After what seemed like 20 minutes of a jungle maze, we finally saw my backyard. We sprinted into the kitchen and told my mom and dad about finding Mrs. June in the woods and bleeding. My parents ended up calling Mrs. June's son and explained what happened. I was told a week after Richie and I saw Mrs. June in the woods, she died from a brain hemorrhage, which, to me at least, would explain her left eye bleeding. When we saw her, she was having some kind of manic episode and wandered into the woods. I actually feel bad now, knowing what her condition was, because we didn't even help and just ran away from her. But to my 10-year-old brain, I felt like she was this evil witch trying to bring us back to her house with these bleeding eyes. I don't know if this story is scary or just tragic, but yeah, that was my experience, and I'm still haunted by it to this day.
I don't blame you. You were 10 years old, so you would have been scared seeing blood coming out of somebody's eye. Man, that's one painful way to go, is a brain hemorrhage. Whew. Sad to hear that she was having a little episode up there, and that's why she wandered off in the woods. Because if I was talking to an older lady, that was a neighbor of mine, and I saw she had blood coming out of her eyes, nose, or whatever, I'll be like, all right, that's it, I'm calling 911 for you. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more spooky vibes related content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Court channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and that's a wrap, and have a nice day, y'all.